Ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Well, good Thursday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch. This is the Early Bird Special on this MLB trade deadline Thursday. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what else they're in for today.
Oh, we got a jam-packed day or morning to start off. Not only is it the trade deadline, but the Hall of Fame game kicks off tonight. Some shows are starting if you're a big streamer. Our buddy Leanne Morgan, her show Leanne starts today.
I cannot wait to dive into
on the Netflix, as well as the first 3 episodes of Twisted Metal Season 2 starts tonight.
Oh, shut up. I was unaware of that.
But
I'm busy this weekend. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Don't ask me.
Plus SummerSlam weekend. I mean, my son's 16th birthday.
I'm supposed to go to a family game night. I might have to cancel. Oh, my God.
It's a jam-packed weekend, really starting tonight. But we'll kick off with some MLB trades ahead of the deadline. We'll wrap up our recap of all the divisions, our breakdown, ending with the AFC and NFC East. We'll talk about the departure of Shannon Sharpe from ESPN, which will welcome a new but Hall of Famer type show that will be replacing him in ESPN. We'll recap Happy Gilmore 2 finally. And I did get to see Fantastic Four last night. We'll get into that. Plus, we got some miscellaneous NFL news. And I believe the headline before baseball deadline, Noah Fant signed with the Bengals this morning.
Ah, look at the Bengals going and picking up another tight end.
Adding more to the offense.
I swear. Look, man. If you need any more evidence that the Bengals are putting literally every dollar they own into the offense, and now we know why they let go of Zach Moss. Makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it?
It's not Trey.
Yeah. And
it's Noah Fant.
And from what we understand, negotiations are still ongoing there. He will not play on this contract, so they need to figure this out pretty soon. And I'm pretty sure seeing other people getting stuff done probably doesn't sit well.
No.
At least I wouldn't think so.
But with the baseball trade deadline, I am a happy Mariners fan this morning.
Absolutely, you are. And honestly, I'm kind of mad at you, but I can't be mad at the situation because Suarez has found his new home as the Diamondbacks have decided to send the 36 home run hitting stud third baseman out to Seattle to team up with Cal and Julio and my God of a roster that we are seeing out there in Seattle now.
They're finally doing something.
This is going to be interesting. We are going to see them in the playoffs probably for the first time in quite some time. And if they can make a run, it would be very, very entertaining to watch. There's a lot of really great trades yesterday and this morning. Shane Bieber just being announced this morning that the Guardians will be sending him to the Blue Jays. Former Cy Young. I mean, it's stud pitcher. I know he's been injured the last 2 years, but you have to imagine that they hope he can come back to form and help the Blue Jays get into that situation as well, taking on teams like the Yankees a lot during the season. I would say Shane Bieber would be a great addition to a rotation that needs to do something to start stalling out guys like Aaron Judge and winning some baseball games. And of course, the Philadelphia Phillies finding their closer yesterday in Duran. The Twins finally found a trade suitor and honestly got 2 very good prospects in return. Mick Abel, probably the number 1 pitching prospect for the Phillies, along with the number 1 catching prospect as well. Good haul for the Twins for the future of their organization, I would say.
Do you like the trade?
I wasn't crazy about it at first until I really put it into perspective that this kid, Duran, is only 27 years old and is already one of the more formidable closers in baseball. Obviously, it's not something that usually continues to happen. You have to be consistent in order to be that guy. So I'm hopeful that that is what we have gotten in Philly, because to be honest with you,
they've been desperate for a closer, man.
They really have. And honestly, the relief pitching has stalled them out quite a bit. I know they had the years of Sir Anthony Dominguez a couple years ago, which was a lot of fun to watch, along with Alvarado and stuff, but that has since fizzled out. I know Sir Anthony now, I believe, is actually on the Blue Jays, if I'm not mistaken. He was traded earlier this week, but I'm hopeful that this is going to propel the Phillies into that level of World Series area again. We will see what we will see as the season continues. Duran's only got 16 saves so far on the season. We hope that number gets bumped up tremendously by the end of the year. But as of right now, I think the team that made the best trade and probably the most impactful is your Seattle Seattle team, my friend, because Suarez and the Mariners right now are going to be absolutely red hot when he hits that rotation or that lineup rather. I'm sorry. And to be honest with you, with a bat like Cal, who's kind of fizzling out right now, he's been struggling since the All-Star break. He's still hitting home runs, but the average has tremendously gone down. You need somebody to come in and ignite the bats, get more people on base, and score more runs. And
I'm not looking at the wild card. I'm hoping we catch up to Houston. We're only 4 or 5 games behind.
I wouldn't be surprised, but Houston's looking to make some moves today as well, including potentially bringing back Carlos Correa, from what I understand.
That's what I read this morning. But I mean, after getting swept by the A's over the weekend, there's still faith. There is still faith the cheaters could just keep dropping. But there was a few other trades, and I mean, I saw the Reds are picking up guys left and right. Another one this morning I didn't write down, but I know they landed the Gold Glove third baseman.
Brian Hayes. Look, man, I saw something online that kind of made me think about this too. But although this isn't a good trade, I will never say picking up a Gold Glover is not a good trade. How many infielders do you need, though?
Right.
Like, what is the plan here? Are you planning on moving people out to the outfield, or are we moving on from some of these younger prospects that you guys have had the last couple of years? The Reds organization has been really odd to me the last couple of years, just because you've had the prospects there and it seems like you were building around them, but it stalls out very quickly and then they give up on it immediately. So I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. I think bringing in Ke'Bryan is a fantastic defensive ad, obviously, but I don't know if this is really going to be a game changer for the Reds, especially in the batting area. As much as I love Hayes as a Gold Glover, as a batter, he's average, I'd say. I mean, he's a very good batter. Don't get me wrong. You're still going to get a 240, maybe 250 out of him during the season. And I'm probably off base. Maybe he'll be up in the 3s. But at this point, is he a real game-changing addition to the Reds to propel them over teams like the Brewers and the Cubs? Not really. And at this point, that's who you're chasing. So I'm not sure exactly if this was a move for the future and they're planning on maybe keeping Hayes longer because they don't know if the prospects are going to want to re-sign. But at this point, it was just a head scratcher for me.
Detroit just picked up relief pitcher Paul Swould from the Guardians. It looks like the Guardians are having a
fire sale of the pitching. The Shane Bieber move, I understand he was injured. I think he was rehabbing with the Rubber Ducks. But at this point, again, a Cy Young caliber pitcher being sent away from your organization is very odd to me, especially since the Cleveland Guardians were a team that we were really talking about last year as a playoff contender, at least. So maybe they have a plan as well, or they're just retooling for future seasons, trying to figure out more of the salary cap situation, because that has been looming. And honestly, Commissioner Manfred has been going around the league talking to teams about it. In fact, we didn't get into it, but I was planning on talking eventually about this whole Philadelphia Phillies blow up on Manfred when he showed up to their locker room and Bryce Harper got in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good look, if I'm being honest with you, but it is what it is. And you know how I feel about this. I've said it a couple times now. You're going to have to get over it, because although you don't want a salary cap in baseball, it's coming. Necessary.
It's coming.
It's very necessary. And honestly, maybe not even the ceiling is necessary, but the floor is 1000% necessary, because I mean, that's the one thing everybody complains about, right? Some of these owners don't want to pay, and they don't want to pay for actual players, so they'll be okay with mediocrity and just pulling in money from fans. That's not okay. That's not okay for a league. And honestly, that's what's kind of killed your league the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's what was making me worried picking the Mariners, because I know they have a history of not paying players, just building them up and then trading them.
But luckily, the Mariners have since turned around on that. And also have been able to find really good pieces as prospects. Because, again, I still stand by Julio is silently one of the best outfielders in the game. And you don't even hear about him on this team anymore. just because of Cal. And now Eugenio.
I think it's the Cal system is really making the owners like, hey, we can't just waste this dude.
No, absolutely not.
Which-
this is a talent that you have to get behind.
But it's gonna be a crazy second half of the season. I'll say that. But the other pickups, I know the Yankees picked up outfielder Austin Slater yesterday.
Desperately needed with Aaron Judge being injured. And honestly, you need a glove. The big struggle for the Yankees this year has been the fielding. It's been ugly.
And another thing is, I saw Ohtani taken off the mound, and I believe it was just some cramps due to the heat.
That's what, okay.
But that's what they're saying, anyways.
While I was running the Ralph Bailey show yesterday on our sister station of Kern Radio, we were actually told of this happening, and we don't get the Dodger channels here.
Of course, like
So
most of us.
the best I can do is look it up on my phone and stream it that way somehow, or go that way. But obviously, while I'm producing a show, I'm not going to be watching a baseball game. So it's kind of hard to do that. We had no clue what was going on. Ralph is a diehard Dodger fan.
He was nervous.
Nervous as all get out. He's one of those guys who didn't want Shohei to pitch, period. So it is what it is. He didn't like this to begin with. But then we have Randizzle coming down the hall, who's a diehard Giants fan with a big old smile on his face.
On Hot 94.1.
Absolutely. And I look at him and say, what happened? And he said, Shohei got taken off with an injury. Now, when you hear with an injury,
yeah, you immediately think the worst.
He said, oh God, what happened? And then we get inundated with a whole bunch of texts after we bring it up on the show, and they say, oh no, he just had 6 straight balls. He looked ugly, and they pulled him off.
Yeah, 2 wild pitches.
It was explained to me that they were playing the Reds, I believe, and he in Cincinnati was like 100 plus or something like that. So it was a hot day. It was an ugly day. So more than likely, chalk it up to cramps. He didn't leave the rotation or the lineup, so he stayed in as a designated hitter.
But he probably should have.
I mean,
I know he went 0 for 5.
Again, there is some validity though to the whole
pitching and hitting.
Yeah, he's struggling doing both. And I don't know if it's just the rust that he's trying to shake off, because obviously he didn't have those issues that often with the Angels, but this is really starting to shake up to, you may need to make some adjustments to this entire pitching plan with Shohei Ohtani. And I'm going to say it again.
Copy what Ralph says?
Oh, no. No. You can go back and watch our videos. I'll pull the video myself and make it a clip. I do not care.
The feedback we've been getting from
Absolutely. I have been getting nothing but grief from Dodger fans. It'll never happen. He's not a closer. He's never happened. Yeah. Look, hear me out. It's working having him in the rotation. I'm not going to sit there and say it's not. But you've only had him for maybe 3 innings. Maybe. So why not have him for the full game bat? Maybe go 3 for 4, a couple home runs, look great. Just like our guy Shane said, maybe he knocks in the 2-run, home run to give you the lead, and then you go to him in the ninth. There you go, big guy.
I don't see anything more perfect than that.
It's not that much of a difference. He still gets to pitch. He's actually the most important pitcher in your lineup, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, nobody has been able to give me a valid reason on why this wouldn't work. You've all said, oh, he won't do it. He's not a closer. He's a starter. First and foremost, don't speak for Shohei Ohtani. Secondly,
he's got a guy that does that already for him.
He's got an interpreter to do that. Give me a reason why this wouldn't work. Don't come with me with it'll never happen. That's you as a fan just being negative.
I think it's coming.
Come with some fact here. Come with some sort of reason why you believe this won't work. Text it in 661-842-2000. Honestly, text in and call us doofuses on whatever you want. Yeah, I don't care. Anytime you want to. You can call in and tell it to our faces, and you will be able to see it on the internet for the rest of our lives. I really don't care. But give me some facts as to why this won't work, and then I'll start agreeing with you. But until that happens, I'm going to die on this hill. I'm probably the only one that started on this hill, but I'm up here anyway. Shohei should be your closer.
And I will say I did catch part of Ralph's show, and which I love Ralph, but he was going down the Wilt Chamberlain things that you might not have known. And I love Wilt, and he's on one of my, top 10, I would say. But one of the stats that he read out was, he averaged, 58 points for a season.
Oh, 50 points, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but that helps when you score 100 points in a game that same season.
And also,
Your average shoots up when you score 100 points.
I didn't want to say anything because I was letting him go. He loves going on those, and I agree with him to a certain degree. Honestly, Wilt Chamberlain is probably one of the best players to ever play basketball. But I do agree with you. And when you're playing against plumbers and all that type of stuff, and he said at the end, is like you can make your arguments against competition and all that type of stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
But it was the time.
That's what it was, man. It's just like Babe Ruth. We're not going to sit here and say Babe would be successful here today because he wouldn't. I'm sorry.
Wilt was a freak athlete, and that's why he scored, or he has all the records.
Right.
And it was a whole different time. But I understand.
I argue
Wilt's
though that
one of the best.
I argue Wilt would be successful in
Oh yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah.
Wilt was so skilled back then that he absolutely was. Now, average 50 points a game. Let's not get crazy.
Nah.
But with his work ethic and the way he played and everything like that, he would fit perfect. And so would Kareem. Kareem would kill.
One stat I didn't know was the 48.5 minutes that he averaged because of overtime games.
Well, it kind of helps when you're also like
The
Kareem, you're the coach too.
Player,
and
yes.
They don't take you off the court, my guy.
But we'll take our first break. We'll get into some miscellaneous news. Gilbert Arenas is back in the news. We've got some news from the Shannon Sharp camp. And if we have some time, we'll get into Sophie Cunningham and her new podcast right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM. This is early bird special. Wake up Thursday, 7:20. You're just waking up. Good luck today at work. If you're not, I've been here with you since 4 o'clock. Let's get a little bit of basketball news because at this point, this has to be the world's worst summer for the Arenas family. Elijah gets in the car wreck, get put in a coma to get the smoke out of his lungs. Luckily, he heals from that. Goes back to practice, tears his ACL, out for the year. And now, Daddy Dearest, everybody's favorite Washington Wizard, Agent Zero himself, has been popped for running an illegal poker game. I shouldn't say ring because God knows how long this has been going or how many games.
Full-on business.
It's a full business from what we understand. In his home, he apparently was renting out his home for high stakes poker games. This isn't something that really shook me though, because if you really watch, especially if you go back and watch the Netflix documentary on the entire altercation between him and his teammate with the gun situation in the locker room, Gilbert's been gambling since he's been a kid. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was a bookie at one point. If I'm remembering correctly, he said he was pretty much his friend's bookies and they were playing poker and all that type of stuff since he's been a wee lad. So this does not surprise me at all. Not trying to take shots at his credibility or his character at all. That's just how he's grown up. So it actually made me laugh because when I first heard this and they said high stakes poker games, all I'm thinking is, so him and his buddies were sitting down playing poker for a couple millions of dollars. What's the problem with that? Everybody goes to their buddy's house and plays poker, right? And then you figure out exactly how much he was doing with this and how much business was coming through his house and how much money he was making. And
I mean, dude, they had chefs, they had valets, they had armed security, women serving drinks and doing massages. I mean, this was a full-on.
He was essentially doing a full casino in his house on the weekends to make some money, and you can't do that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a whole Will Ferrell movie based on this, isn't there? When you look at it though, I mean, I don't think he's going to get time for this. They might throw him in jail for a couple months. I don't think it'd be that serious if he does. I might be wrong. I maybe way off base. I don't know much about the legal system in that, right? So I don't know exactly how much he could see from, these types of charges. Heavy fine though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to federal court this week. So I mean, we'll get some answers from it. And I mean, it's federal court, so they're either going to go for some big money or he's going to do some time.
Yeah. Again, it depends how much this was or how long this was going on and how much money was really being funneled through this, right? Because illegal gambling, all that type of stuff, America, it's such a gray area because America is so on board with gambling. But if it's gambling between you and your friend, they hate that. And it's like, I don't understand that at all, but it is what it is. At this point, I hate to see someone like Gilbert get popped for something this dumb, but does it really surprise anybody?
No,
not at all. Not at all. Again, the whole situation in the Washington Wizards locker room started with a poker game. They were doing it while he was playing. This doesn't surprise me at all. I feel for the Arenas family. I do, because this has got to be one of the worst stretches of the last couple months I've seen a family have to go through. But my God, is it going to get much worse if he has to go to jail?
Yeah, we'll definitely keep you posted on that one. And just keeping it in the world of basketball, Fever guard Sophie Cunningham Tuesday she signed a podcast deal with The Volume, which is, if you didn't know, that is the podcast media company founded by Colin Cowherd. And her first episode aired yesterday.
Do you know the name of the pod?
It is Show Me Something.
Okay.
And she started out, kicked off the show with some fireworks and came out saying that, anybody that will deny Caitlin Clark's status as the face of the WNBA is just dumb as bleep, I would say. So They're not all Delulu, and to take some words from you.
Well, I mean, fair, but let's also take into account that Sophie is
Our
also her
girl.
teammate and
Yes.
essentially enforcer at this point. I mean, de facto enforcer by the internet for sure. But I mean, I don't disagree with her. We've said it on this show a million times over. This girl has literally come in the league and doubled the net worth of every team that's been a part of it. And she's not even on the best team. Like that should be saying something. And I get like I know I told you this off air and before the show, but I fully understand why athletes would be jealous. I totally get it. Because if you are an athlete, inherently, one, you are prideful. Two, you believe that you are the best at what you do because that has to come with it as a professional. There is a level of that that just a normal person will never understand. We see it as arrogance, but honestly, it's just pride and confidence. That's all it is. It comes off bad sometimes, but it is what it is. And three, the biggest one is everybody wants to be the face. Everybody wants to be Michael. Everybody wants to be Kobe. Everybody wants to be Tom, but not everybody can be that guy. And when someone comes in and automatically just is given that spot without ever having to work for it, especially when people are like Asia Wilson have been in the league for so long, tearing it up and winning championships, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. I totally get it. Kelsey Plum, I totally get why you would be angry and jealous at the situation. And I don't mean jealousy to come off as a slight, but it is kind of ridiculous at this point. The facts are there. Caitlin being in the league is gonna get you all paid. It really is. You just got to give it some time first. But at the end of the day, I agree with her. To sit there and say that she's not the face of the league and is not going to be for the foreseeable future is just wild. It really is. And that's with so many great athletes coming in after her, like Juju and all that, once she comes out of USC, amongst others who we probably haven't even seen yet. So it's just going to start that way. And I have to agree with her though. It's getting old.
Yeah.
It really is.
Get some new material. But we'll take our break. We'll get into do you want to start AFC?
Yeah, let's start with the AFC. Why not?
We'll get into the AFC, our predictions and our thoughts on these four teams. And then at the top of the hour, we'll get into the NFC East. And then the last half of the show, we'll get into the Shannon Sharp leaving at ESPN. And then we'll get into Happy Gilmore and Fantastic Four and some other entertainment news right here on the Early Bird Special.
Welcome back. This is the early bird special. And just as we have throughout the rest of the week, we're going to wrap up our thoughts here on the NFL teams before we get the season started. We're giving you guys the South, North, and West Coast divisions already. Today, we wrap it up with the East. I'm going to let Sparky start because we're going to go with the AFC East first. And I already know who he's got at the top of this list. So go ahead and tell him, Sparky.
Well, I
Go ahead and tell him.
I'm not going to say my predictions of wins, but I will say the Dolphins are going to take the AFC East.
You're not going to give us a win total?
Crazy. Call me crazy. I think they win all the games until they don't.
Okay.
That's as much as I'm going to give you. But I think the Dolphins are going to continue to stay under the radar. And as long as people are talking about the secondary, then they're not talking about Tua.
True.
And I know it's been the headline, oh, Tua hasn't thrown any interceptions. And, well, he's also playing against backup cornerbacks and safeties. But I will say that defensive line is going to be scary. Whether or not they bring back Wilkins, we're waiting on the grievance. But I think Miami is going to stay under the radar. And with a healthy Tyreek, who was dealing with injuries all last season, as well as Waddle. And I know there's been some talks of what's his face, Keenan Allen working out with Miami yesterday. Hopefully, I mean, that would just be another option. And Darren Waller recovering from having a year off should be a nice little dip and dot with the tight end. I know Tua loves his tight ends.
Absolutely.
And ideally, I know in the last week they picked up Jack Jones and Mike Hilton from Cincinnati to play some cornerback help. I still think they're either going to get Rasul Douglas, maybe Gilmore, ideally Samuel, which luckily he came out after his dad bashed the Dolphins, that his daddy doesn't speak for him. So that still leaves the door open. And I know there's also been some talks about bringing in Justin Simmons to team up with Minka at the safety position. I think Miami's going to be better than they were last year. I would not be surprised if it's a better season than last year, as long as Tua is standing upright. But I'm always going to go with my Dolphins.
No, naturally. That's why I had to let you go first, because I knew exactly where this was going to go. Personally, I have the Buffalo Bills obviously at the top. Now, looking at their schedule and everything that's really boiling up this season, you still have to pay guys like James Cook. I realize that, but Buffalo last year did a lot with very little. In fact, it did so much that it got Josh Allen the MVP. Now, do we see Josh Allen return to that form this year and have this entire coming of age, finally getting to that mountaintop? I don't think so. I don't think it's the year for the Buffalo Bills. I know a lot of analysts and insiders say that they believe the Buffalo Bills are going to take that step this year. I disagree. I think it's the Ravens' year, to be honest with you. But I got Buffalo at around 11 to 13 wins this year. It's going to be a respectable year, especially with, again, the questions at wide receiver. You still haven't found that number one guy. I know they believe and hope that Keon Coleman can come in and be that guy. Jury's still out. I think he had flashes of it last season, but there's a confidence issue that he's going to need to figure out. And I think that skill-wise, he has the ability, if they could find the right packages in place to put in place to make it work. You have two great tight ends that you can work with. And honestly, just like I said last year, they had very, very little and were gutted on the defensive side, still made it happen. The only thing, you're going to see it in week one, because week one, Sunday Night Football, Buffalo and Baltimore. And to be honest with you, that is going to be the measuring stick for the rest of the AFC. Who wins this game is going to be the one who sets the tone for the rest of the conference. And to be honest with you, I'm still riding with the Ravens, although I will say I'm still giving them a respectable 11, 13 game wins here for Buffalo. I think a handful of them can go either way, but right now you're at least in a playoff spot, taking the division and moving in. So that's
with the Dolphins winning the AFC East, I'm going to go with the Patriots actually leaping over the Bills this year.
Okay.
I love the signing of with Vrabel, bringing back McDaniel as the offensive coordinator. I think that's just what Drake May needs. I know a lot of young quarterbacks have succeeded under McDaniel, and I think the Patriots defense was already tough. And with a hell of a draft that they had this offseason, I'm thinking the Patriots are 9-10 game win season. And I think they leapfrog the Bills, leaning on back to the Bills. I think the Bills take a step back. I think their window closed after last year. I think that was the year that they needed to make it because of the team you just brought up is the Ravens. Not only not counting out the Chiefs and some other teams like the Texans who could take a step forward, but I think the Bills losing out on a couple receivers, their defense has been hit and miss, and I think we see it right in week 1. I know the Ravens lost a nose or a right at the end of week 1 last year to start off the season, but like I said the other day, I think that core that the Ravens have put together and another year behind with Henry and Lamar just building that core together, I think the Ravens are going to be the team to beat in the AFC, not the Chiefs. And I just think the Bills will be a 9-8, 8-9 team. And I have them at third in the AFC East.
Okay. I mean, again, I agree with you that I have the New England Patriots at number 2, but the reason I have the Patriots at number 2, one is the returning of the coaching. I do think that we're going back to the Belichick era, and I think the reuniting of Vrabel and McDaniel is going to show a lot of people that although Bill is a great coach, he benefited from having 2 fantastic coaches right next to him. Much like I said yesterday about the Detroit Lions, 2 days ago when we talked about the North, when you have 3 bona fide head coaches on your squad at the same time, it looks easy. And it is easy because that's just how good they are. So I think that you're going to see that this year. Not to mention when you look at the schedule for the New England Patriots, 6 of these games I'm looking at right now are automatic W's. Honestly, I'm sorry, Raider fans, but week 1 against the Raiders, that should be a win. Week 4 against the Panthers should be a win. Week 6 against the Saints. Week 8 against the Cleveland Browns. Honestly, I'll even say week 9 against Atlanta and week 13 against the Giants. For sure, 100% should be wins, along with one of those games against the Jets at least in week 11 on Thursday Night Football or week 17. Either way, that's 6 automatic wins for the Patriots. The rest of the squads or the rest of the teams they'll be taking on, true, you'll have to take on Buffalo a couple times and Cincinnati this year, but most of these games outside of the Baltimore game and the other 2 I just mentioned are winnable. Miami, winnable. Pittsburgh, absolutely winnable. Tennessee, 100% winnable. And actually, Tennessee should be on that short list of games that should be an automatic win. But until we see how good Cam Ward is, I can't really put them on that just yet. And to be honest with you, so that automatically puts them, I would say, about 8-9 games, if I'm being honest, which is a tremendous step forward for the New England Patriots. That's the only reason I have them over your Miami Dolphins right now, because I do have the Dolphins. Their floor is a little bit smaller. I got you guys about 7-9. So it's going to be a battle for that second spot in the AFC East, in my opinion.
I think if they bring in one of these corners I brought up and, adding that third receiver with the veteran, I think that would just benefit not only Tua, but the Waddles and the Tyreeks. You throw in a Keenan Allen in there, I just think it's going to be opening it.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
But my thing is with the Patriots is, one, I believe in Vrabel.
100%.
Vrabel shouldn't have lost his job in the first place. But secondly is, can Drake May, I think they're going to put out the platter perfectly for Drake May. And now it's just him to step in and do it.
And be the guy that they were hoping you would be. And honestly, I think he's going to be. There was no sign last year that made us really doubt that. In fact, there were certain situations because he had the worst offensive line of football last year. If we're being honest, It was ugly and he made it work.
And Stevenson is a beast.
Yes. And at this point, I think the Patriots have a lot to build on. I think that it's just working out really well. And this could be one of the quickest rebuilds we've ever seen.
And then, just looking at the wide receiver core, they're not the big names besides Diggs.
Right.
But Demario Douglas and Mac Hollins, those are 2 under-radar badass receivers.
Mac is a stud. I don't know why this guy bounces around so much and people can't, commit to him.
Dolphins, Raiders, Bills.
Atlanta. I mean, when he was with Atlanta, he was a stud. I was like, dude, why are we letting this guy go? When he was a Raider, he was a stud. I'm like,
Dolphins, he's the one that got the catch to beat the Raiders when Fitzpatrick got his helmet ripped off.
And
this guy's a stud.
There's something about him, though, the teams just can't get behind. I don't know if it's just his weird personality, because he is an outlandish guy. We're talking about the guy who in Buffalo walked into the stadium while snowing barefoot. So he's an outdoorsy guy. He's a little bit different, but I have to agree with you. I mean, it's not the flashy names in New England right now, but those guys, especially if Diggs takes a little bit to get back on the field for some reason, which he's already back on the field, so you would assume he'd be ready for week 1. If you can get all 3 of those guys at 100%, Drake's got some great receivers to throw to, not to mention Hunter Henry at tight end. And it's one of those situations where I agree with you. The schedule's lining up this way, the way the team is built. I think that Vrabel turns this around and makes this a ridiculously quick rebuild.
Well, we'll take our last break of the hour. We'll wrap up the AFC East, and then at the top of the hour, we'll wrap up our recap of the NFL teams by division with the NFC East right here on the Early Bird Special. We'll wrap up the AFC East on the early bird special. Obviously, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, and then I swapped out the Patriots and the Bills. As Burdick did kind of the opposite. He's got the Bills taking the AFC East again, with the Patriots leapfrogging over
The Dolphins.
the Dolphins. So we agree on one. The Jets will finish fourth in the AFC East.
100%. We technically agree on two. The only
But-
ones we disagree on are Buffalo and Miami.
which is a normal thing when I'm
Really.
dealing with the Josh Allen fan club president over here.
Absolutely, which I will be wearing my Josh Allen jersey.
But the Jets, and before I get away from the Dolphins, I did see a rumor that the rival jerseys, which we'll see later in August
So
as they get revealed, but the Dolphins rumor is a black helmet with the orange dolphin logo and a black jersey with the orange teal number,
Okay.
which
would
I
look
used to have a
clean.
merino reversible that looked just like that, but we never wore it.
No, it would look clean. But can I throw this out there? Does everybody need a black uni now?
Yes,
Y'all just want to be Atlanta so bad, don't you?
I think
Everybody want to be
the
Atlanta,
to
the
the
Michael
Bulls black-
Vick Atlanta era so bad.
I think-
Everybody want a black uni now. It's
I
just
think of the Bulls black and red.
regardless. That wasn't football. That was basketball. Basketball teams can do whatever they want over there. This is football.
What about
Everybody
the
got
Raiders.
first the Cardinals.
We're a Raiders station. If you're going to talk about
That's
black
actually true.
unis,
I gotta throw the alternate because it's an alternate. It's not the main one. We know the Raiders are black and silver. We know. I'm not talking about y'all.
but the AFC East gets a lot of trash talking. They think, oh, it's the worst division. It's the worst. I think it changes some minds this year because not only I think the Dolphins will be a better team than they expect,
Absolutely.
but the Patriots are getting better. The Bills are the Bills, and I think the Jets are actually going to take a step forward, but still be at the bottom of the division.
I see. This is where I'm kind of stalling out because I do have your Dolphins going anywhere between 7 to 9 wins. And honestly, I think you guys are going to start out hot. Your first 8 weeks of the season are going to be smooth sailing all the way through Atlanta in week 8. But then you look at week 9 on Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington, out of country,
Bring them on.
back to back. Then your bye week. Then you got probably 1 or 2 automatic wins, I'd say, with the Saints and the Jets. Although the Jets is at home, so that one's one of those toss-up games that you never really could tell if you're going to win or lose. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Bengals, the Bucks, and the New England Patriots. Honestly, I think you guys are 8-8 along with the Patriots until that Week 18 game, and then that flex game is the one who puts either one of you above the other.
Patriots hadn't beat us in years, so bring them on.
I get it.
Line them up.
But again, you're in Foxborough in the dead of winter.
Good.
I
Let's change some
It's gonna
minds
be a
this
real-
year.
I agree. I think it'd be a great year to do that. But
This is the
that's
year
where
to do
I'm-
it because if not, McDaniel's going to be looking for a job.
now, 100%. For the Jets, I got you going 5 wins, maybe.
Yeah, I put 5 to 7.
Looking at their schedule and the way this is all lining up, I mean, they got to play Denver, Dallas. Obviously, we talked about Buffalo, Baltimore. You got just teams in here that I just think you're going to get outclassed. Honestly, I think week 1 against Pittsburgh is going to be a big tell. Sorry, Shauna, but
I think they beat them.
you think they beat Pittsburgh?
I think they beat the Steelers to start the season, and then they kind of just fall
fizzle
back.
out after that. It could happen. It really could, especially with the entire Aaron situation. And I could see that going that way where Aaron loses and the media blows up saying, oh, Pittsburgh's not what we thought, and the Jets could be the team. And then you go against Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Miami, and Dallas and Denver and go 1-5.
That's what I think is the Justin Fields. It could go either way. But I think locking in their number 1 receiver, number 1 corner, they've got some pieces, and that defense is always tough. But my thing is I still think they have glaring holes to fill to actually keep them competitive.
And honestly, which is weird to say, right? Because, I mean, you have guys like Breece Hall on this team. You just mentioned Garrett Wilson and Sauce Garner. I mean, you have young stars at dang near every position. So realistically, you should be at that level. But there's just a looming curse or something, much like the Browns over the Jets. I don't know what it is, but they just can't seem to put it together. The scheduling isn't going to help you this year. The only difference I see is, unlike Miami's schedule, New York's schedule gets a little bit easier after week 9, after their bye week. But it's going to, there's a lot of these teams I can't say that you're going to outclass, including teams like New England and Miami. shoot, even Jacksonville. Because if Jacksonville could figure it out with Travis Hunter, I would put them over the Jets right now, which is really hard to say. But it's one of those situations where the Jets are going to be coming at the bottom. I think you're fighting for probably a top 5 pick in next year's draft and trying to retool and figure out, hopefully not another quarterback situation, but at least somebody to protect Justin so he doesn't have to run all over the field.
Yeah, and if he could stay healthy.
Yeah, because that was the other thing too, right? Was the early injury really was kind of a bad omen, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Just like you had it happen with Aaron in the first drive of that season, and now we're talking about it in preseason of this year with your brand new quarterback. It's a bad omen. I'm telling you, there's something about this that I don't like, and I hope Justin doesn't get hurt. Like, that's knock on wood, straight up. But it's the Jets. There's just something about the Jets that I have never been able to figure out why they can't shake it. But it's just
the Jets,
organization.
Just in the season, Jets.
I don't know. Again, but that is where I have the AFC East right now. I know, obviously, these things could change at any point in time. Injuries happen throughout the season, and God only knows. Josh Allen, again, knock on wood, might get hurt, and Buffalo Bills might be at the bottom of the division. Who knows?
Well, we got a couple texts regarding this. The first listener said, I'm taking the Finns to win the division. It'll be a close one with the Bills, then the Pats and Jets. This other one says Mariners are making some good moves in trades. I think they are going to surprise some teams come playoffs.
Honestly, you could say they are now one of the favorites to creep up into that World Series area.
That'd be beautiful. The other one says, you're crazy, Sparky. The Bills own the East, and Josh Allen gets another MVP.
Oh, I won't go that far. Don't get crazy on the Josh Allen, the MVP thing. Back-to-back MVPs would be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be that kind of a season for Buffalo.
The other one says, Ohtani will never be a closer. I am starting to like this idea because it seems he doesn't hit well when he's pitching, but don't think Roberts is smart enough, or maybe he's just waiting to make that switch when the playoffs come around.
Okay, so what they're saying is he will not be the closer, but they're liking the idea of him being a closer. See, look at that. I'm turning around Dodger fans.
Now they're blaming Roberts.
I'm just saying, man. Like, look, Dave Roberts is who he is. I know Dodger fans like to give him grief and call him out and a lot of stuff. And as you should always feel free to call out your coach on dim-witted mistakes that he makes, because not going to lie to you, Roberts makes a handful of them throughout the year. But can you really, question what he's done for your organization? World Series winner. I mean, I say trust him. Yeah, he's competitive every year. He puts it. To be honest with you, I don't know if there's a lot of managers that can manage this many stars.
Right.
We've seen it across sports. Like, sometimes being a coach isn't all about just benefiting from the roster you have. It's knowing how to utilize that roster. I mean, I know I usually use basketball as an example because they're usually the easiest to do, but take the big three for Brooklyn: Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. That should have been a cakewalk. Not a single coach they could find could actually put that together. Now, granted, none of the players could actually be on the court together, but like, there have been multiple instances like that where you have a team that should have worked but didn't. Phoenix, obviously, being another one that you could talk about with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. Although, looking at position-wise, it shouldn't work that way, but you could have had a coach figure something out. So if you're going to gripe about Dave Roberts, at least know that there's probably not a managers out there in baseball that can do what he does. And
that's a lot of egos.
Grass ain't always greener on the other side, man.
Not
I'm going to tell you
Phil
right
Jackson.
now. No, not everybody's Phil Jackson. That's a very good point. So take that into account as well if you're a Dodger fan. I know none of you truly hate Dave Roberts. I know you don't. I know you like to complain, and I get it. You have to find something to complain about when your team is so good. So I completely understand. But give the guy a break. He's doing what he can. Still say Shohei for your closer. And I'm going to harp that until the day I die. This is the Early Bird Special. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the NFC East. Are the Cowboys going to be able to pull it off this year? We'll let you know. This is the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Early Bird Special right here on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m., 101.1 FM. And don't forget, you can go to our YouTube channel as well at the Early Bird Special. Watch our show every single day from 7 to 9, along with a couple videos in there from past shows. Like to break them up for you guys so you don't have to sit there and search through a whole 2-hour show to figure it out. But we have given you our thoughts for the AFC. Oh, that was a good one. We've given you your thoughts on the AFC East. If you're watching our YouTube channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. Go check it out. I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret. You have to actually see it.
What?
See, you don't even know. Sparky don't even know. It happened behind his back. He'll have to go back and watch the YouTube channel too. Just saying. Let's talk about the NFC East, because this might be probably the easiest one to wrap up, because I got it the exact same way it happened last year, if I'm being completely honest. Not the same wins, obviously, but number one, still until I am shown otherwise, arguably the second most stacked roster in football. And you can argue they are the most stacked roster in football because they were Super Bowl champions, but the Philadelphia Eagles, absolute studs behind Saquon Barkley. You can only hope that we get 2 straight healthy years from Saquon. And if you do, I got them winning about 12 to 14. It should be a cakewalk.
Exactly.
And it sucks to say, because it's one of those situations in football where you really don't want to see dynasties happen all the time. I know we got bored when it came to the Patriots dynasty. Not a lot of people like that. I think Philly could be different. I think Philly could be one of those fun teams to really get behind, see win the Super Bowl multiple times in a row. It is an exciting team to watch. I know a lot of people are up in arms about the whole tush-push situation. Look, man, figure out how to beat it.
Yep.
And honestly, if you get penalized first, maybe that's the way the NFL has to go about fixing it. You got to show them that there's no way for you to actually defend it in order for them to fix it.
Stop them on first and second.
Exactly. So if teams can figure that out, I will be eating crow, and most likely I would see the Washington Commanders being that team to step up into the fold as number one. But right now, until I see otherwise, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and this incredible offensive line of Philadelphia are going to plow through literally every team they can, maybe lose about 3 or 4, because that's just how the NFL is. There's certain every given Sunday kind of a thing, but probably 14 games and number one in the NFC overall.
Yeah, I see the Eagles being one of the toughest teams to beat. And I mean, until someone else beats them, especially in that division. And I'll go down with the same thing with the Commanders. And number 2, I mean, the big eyes are going to be on Jaden this year to see if that sophomore slump thing is a real deal. But until we're proven different, I think they lock in Scary Terry. I know there was a report, Schefter reported this morning, saying there was 8 to 10 teams calling the Washington football team every day, trying to bite some McLaurin, but they continue to say he is not going to be traded. So I think they lock him in sooner or later, and I think the Washington Commanders, as long as Jaden can continue to grow, I think they'll be right on the Eagles' tail.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's what you would hope. But like we said about the Denver Broncos, the likelihood of this working out in the second year is very minuscule. And to be honest with you, Jaden has the ability to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. We saw it last year. So did CJ Stroud. I don't think Jaden takes that big of a step back. I think it's going to be pretty parallel to what we saw from CJ last year in his sophomore season, because CJ didn't take necessarily a step back as more as he didn't take any step at all. He was the exact same of what we saw, which in a way you could see as a negative, because you always want your star players moving forward every single season and getting better, not stalemating. So I think that's what you're really going to see from Jaden this year is he's going to be equally as good as he was last year, but it's going to be so that it kind of gets him overshadowed by a lot of the other guys that are excelling rather than just staying stagnant. You know what I mean? And honestly, when you're in a division like this one where you play against the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys, media is just as big as winning football games. So when you're talking about a Washington Commanders team that's going to probably be second place in the division, and much like the AFC East, I have the Cowboys and the Commanders really fighting it out for this spot. I think the Commanders end with about 9-10 wins, which is respectable, I think, for a year or two for Jaden under a Dan Quinn team that, again, Dan's been shown that he could take a team to a Super Bowl. He just hasn't been able to win it.
The hell is going on behind me, dude?
Again, you got to go back and check out the
He's
YouTube channel.
dancing, and
I got to look at the YouTube channel.
it must
I'm
be
telling you,
something in that burrito.
that's entirely possible as well.
But
Maybe he's
yeah,
just
besides the Eagles and Commanders, I think the Cowboys, I mean, they're one of those teams. There's only been a few that we've ran down, but it's one of those teams I'm a little on the fence with. I know CD is one of the top 3, top 5 receivers, and I think Dak could be playing his way out of Dallas this season. I think the words from Jerry this offseason, and really every offseason, but I think I'm just going to be keeping an eye on that offensive line, as you know, they've missed they lost a few players. And I mean, last year winning 7-10, I think they're going to be under 500 this year. And surprisingly, I don't think the Giants are going to be as bad as everyone thinks. I think really the sob story is going to be the Saints. And sadly, I think the Jaguars could be down there at the bottom too. But going back to the NFC East, I think the Cowboys probably win 6-7 games this season, and I've got the Giants at 5 or 6.
Really?
So I mean, I like the receiving core. I like the Giants defense. They're kind of scary, but kind of hidden under the radar. And Dayball has got to do something to keep his job. I think they both lose their job, not only him and the GM, which they probably should have last year. And I'm kind of on the fence with bringing in somebody like Russell Wilson. But if he starts out, you know, hot in the first month, or if he doesn't, we might just get Jackson Dart in there and see what the hell this kid's made of before they start planning on next year's draft.
If I'm being honest, I do think the Giants are going to be that bad this year. I don't think the Giants are going to win more than 3 games.
So that's the majority. That's what they say.
I genuinely don't. I think the Giants and the Saints are going to be fighting it out for the worst team in the NFL this year. But I see your point. I get why you would think that way and feel that way. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be that bad this year. They're not going to be anybody that really blows teams away, I would say. And you're right. Losing a lot of pieces on the offensive line is going to really harm them, especially losing left tackle Tyron Smith, who has been the cornerstone for that for that line forever, along with other guys like Martin and all these other guys who've retired. But it's a retooling for them. I don't know if Jerry really is willing to move off of Dak Prescott.
I think he might be forced to.
I don't even know if he will, because hear me out on this. Jerry, like I said, loves his guys and has never really backed down from that. Even the Tony Romo situation, there were many seasons where we heard Tony Romo might be out as Dallas Cowboy quarterback, but it never happened.
I think if they go 7-10 again, he'll be forced to do something.
Yeah, but again, I think that Jerry has just reached that point in his life where it's Super Bowl or bust just because he wants it to be.
But
he
wants one more. Say that goes down and we get to see what Milton is. I think Milton is an easy replace and cheaper.
That's a different situation, though, right? I think that if Dak goes down by an injury and you're forced to do that, then yeah, absolutely. But if, let's say, Dak plays all season, you end up going, like, I think 3rd place in the division, 8-9, 9-8, somewhere in there where you floundered out and didn't necessarily make the wild card, or you're just out of it. You know what I mean? I don't think you move off of a guy like Dak Prescott just yet, because I don't think it would necessarily be solely blamed on him. Although he would take the brunt of the punishment, obviously being the quarterback for the team, you have to. But there's just something about this relationship between Jerry and his players, and Jerry Jones on the team in general, that just makes me believe that Jerry puts a lot of talk out there. Like we said, or just 2 weeks ago, Jerry doesn't mind when the Dallas Cowboys are in the news, whether it's good or bad, just because it's the Dallas Cowboys in the news. So if he's the one keeping them in the news, he's happy with that. But if someone like Dak Prescott comes out and claims that he hates playing for the Dallas Cowboys and all this type of stuff and becomes a problem, then obviously it's a different situation as well. But I think right now, with the way Dallas is sitting, what you're going up against every year, because who saw the Commanders coming? Let's be honest. We all knew Jaden was going to be a great quarterback. Let's not get crazy. But who saw them being a 10, 11, 12 win team last year actually coming? I'm going to tell you right now, not a lot of us. Not a lot of us saw that coming. I kind of did, but I didn't think they'd be that good. So Dallas is really just seeing a shift in the competition in all of this. But I do agree with you. When you have teams like the Giants underneath you, it makes it look a little bit easier to just beat up on somebody. So I think Dallas is just in that weird limbo area right now where if you can somehow put it together like you did 2, 3 years ago, you can compete. But I don't think Jerry's going to make any drastic moves off of this, especially after paying all these guys this much money. It's going to be hard to move off of a guy like Dak Prescott with his
Well, there's got
contract.
an option here. He can be out and get his guaranteed up front, but
True.
that's I mean, there's going to be a lot of quarterback
I feel
needy
like
teams this offseason,
I feel like if the move would happen, it'd be more Dak wanting to leave than Jerry saying
and
he's
nobody
done.
wants to leave Dallas.
I wouldn't go that far. You
Not
never
a
know.
quarterback.
Maybe.
When's the last time you saw a quarterback get traded out of Dallas?
You know, that's a good point. They do love being the quarterback of America's team, quote unquote. But before we wrap it up with the NFC East and get to a lot of these other stories, the day, Giants I have at the bottom strictly because I think of what you just said, my friend. As much as I love Brian Dable, I think that this team needed to fire not only him, but the GM last year and completely retool. Bringing in somebody like Russell Wilson, although probably looks nice, it's not going to help you, I don't think. And the future is bright, I think, with Jackson Dart. I should say, though, that a lot of these teams are starting to move towards the idea of not starting your quarterback or rookie quarterback that early, letting him sit for at least a year and developing him might be the best option if you're a Giant right now. I still have you about 3 games because I don't know. There's not a lot of talent on this team, dude. There really isn't.
I think that defense is tough enough to win 3 or 4 games.
But that's my point. Outside of that, what else can you rely on?
I mean, Russ has shown a couple games that he could win. I mean, but we'll see because we've got 2 texts and they're both NFC East fans. The first one says, it's the Commanders, not the Redskins. Commanders, Eagles, Cowgirls, and G-Men.
Commanders, well, and honestly, and the other thing we have to bring up too, which is why I wanted to get this done quickly, because the Commanders are awaiting the vote for their new stadium today, which means we're going to really find out if that entire threat from the president is actually going to be legit or not.
No.
But I like the idea of the Commanders coming up and winning, but I mean, Sirianni's offenses, you have to take into account too that I think didn't the Eagles win, I think the last 18 games of the season last year, something like that. They went on a ridiculous run. And if they come back healthy, there's no reason to believe that that streak isn't going to continue.
The next one says, I don't want to be a delusional Cowboys fan, but it's hard to repeat in the NFL, and the NFC hasn't had a repeat winner. So I'm going with the Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, then the Giants. And sorry, Sparky, Bills win the AFC East.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I do know that there hasn't been a repeat winner of the East in quite some time, but I'm going to throw this out there at you. The NFC South had the exact same situation just about a decade ago, and then we started seeing some repeat winners. Although it hasn't happened for quite some time, does not mean it's out of the realm of possibility that a team can come in and dominate.
And we're talking about the Super Bowl champ Eagles.
Exactly.
Not just some regular team.
And that's what I'm saying. And what did it take for the NFC South to have a back-to-back winner? A Super Bowl contending champion in Tom Brady. So at this point, I think the East is built the exact same way. I think the biggest change probably out of the NFC East is going to be that battle between the Commanders and the Cowboys for the second place spot. I genuinely believe that. And that's not a slight against either of those teams. But at this point, I think it's just the Eagles and everybody else in the NFC. It's much like the AFC. It's Baltimore and everyone else. So we're going to see once the season starts, but I don't think you're a delusional Cowboy fan for believing that you can make a run this year. I think your schedule actually looks pretty good, but the likelihood of you taking over the NFC East and beating a team like Philadelphia,
better build that offensive line and hope these rookies step up.
That's the biggest part, right?
But we'll take our first break of the hour. We'll get into some miscellaneous NFL news, and we'll get into this Shannon Sharpe story right here on the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
know, you ever think while hearing this the first time at a concert, in a mosh pit, everybody just drops to the ground and then all the bodies hit the floor? I, first thought that popped in my head for some reason. I don't know.
One of the
Moment.
best bands I saw live,
Really?
and I got to see the original singer like a week before he passed. Me and my dad took a weird trip on a Wednesday night and drove down to Hollywood and got to see Drowning Pool. One of the best shows I've seen live.
Was it their concert or were they opening?
It was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. They were headlining. That's cool. I still say one of the greatest kids videos ever created was "I Can Only Kill For," based on this song. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, look it up. I guarantee you will laugh. If you
And,
don't, I don't know. You don't got a good sense of humor. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
JP Sears, Mason Miller headed
To the Padres. Padres found themselves a closer now. Big pickup for the Padres, who are desperately looking to catch up to the Dodgers right now, as the Dodgers have been slumping as of late. Could be a beneficial pickup for them, as they have been struggling much like the rest of these top-tier teams at finding somebody to close the door for them on a consistent basis.
Getting hate texts from Dodger fans.
Well, it is what it is. Mason Miller is a former All-Star in 2024. 1-2 was his record this year so far. A 3.76 ERA with 56 Ks. Solid player, though. I genuinely believe this could be a guy. Probably won't be a crazy addition. I think that he'll round out the closing spot for the Padres well for the remainder of the year. Whether he keeps that spot or not is going to be up in the air, because he has struggled this year compared to the last two. So if he can somehow reignite what he was in his first 2 years with the A's, I think you got a bona fide closer for the next couple of years at 26. But outside of that, it's going to be a telltale sign if he can really get to that point. Now, JP Sears is another situation. 7-9 is the record, almost a 5 ERA with 97 Ks as a starter. I don't like the 5 ERA. I really don't. I know obviously runs are at a plenty this year, and it's even harder to keep guys from, knocking the ball out of the park, but a 5 ERA in the majors is wild to me now. But then again, we have batters who are hitting under 200 and still somehow are in starting lineups. Dodgers.
Well, some other miscellaneous NFL news, like we said in the beginning of the show. Noah Fant, free agent tight end, signed a deal with the Bengals this morning. The Raiders locked in their franchise left tackle Colton Miller with a 3-year, $66 million extension with $42.5 million guaranteed. And it is official, the Chiefs receiver Xavier Worthy has now entered the NFL's concussion protocol. But some other, if you're in the media, you probably heard that the Shannon Sharpe era at ESPN has come to an end. And now that they have officially announced Rich Eisen will be moving back to ESPN, the show that follows us from 9 to noon. And word from the station program director, Rich Eisen's show is not going anywhere.
Thank God.
It will still continue to be our follow-up from 9 to noon after Early Bird Special.
I'm also wondering what's going to happen with all the shows that are connected to the Rich Eisen show as well. Because, you have the wrestling podcast that O'Shea Jackson Jr. does with Rich's producer, and many, many other football shows and baseball shows that they produce and pop out there in podcast form. So maybe ESPN helps with those as well.
The news is Eisen will simultaneous run on both CBS and ESPN until the end of the year, because her contract doesn't end until the end of the year.
That makes a lot of sense.
So ESPN just wanted to jump on it as early as they could with the football season starting. And so his show will start September 8th on ESPN programming.
He's also, from what I read on Sports Illustrated yesterday, I believe he's rumored to be the head analyst for Amazon or something of that nature for Prime's games.
Wouldn't doubt it.
I can't remember if it's Amazon. I know he's being heavily considered as one of the football analysts this year. So that's really nice to see too with Rich Eisen. I love seeing Rich Eisen in any form. He's one of the best at what he does. And anytime we get him on the ESPN programming, I'm all for it.
Are you shocked at all with the Shannon Sharpe?
No, because again, we have to remember who the parent company is for ESPN, and that is Disney. And Disney does not play when it comes to these kind of instances, especially when you look this bad. Because let's set the table and remind everybody why Shannon has been out from ESPN since April. He's been dealing with a $50 million lawsuit from a 19-year-old woman who claimed that he assaulted her. And this is an OnlyFans girl who literally played him like a fiddle. I mean, if you really look at the entirety of this situation, Shannon got played. And unfortunately, now Shannon's looking like the bad guy, even though he's the one that got played by a 19-year-old. So he settled with the girl at, I believe, $23 million.
Oh, that's it?
That's all he had to give up, but that's still a considerable amount of money compared to what he had made as a player.
Yeah.
But at this point, like, I wasn't surprised. And honestly, I think he shot himself in the foot a little bit here when he was going around telling people that he'd be back by football season, that all of this would be done, and he's just going to be back at football, and it's not that big of a deal. We're just going to brush it under the rug. And when you challenge ESPN and Disney like that and say, oh, this is just, you're going to brush this under the rug anyway. I'll be back in, when football starts, and you'll all love me. Yeah, you're going to lose that fight. Exactly. So at this point, I'm not surprised at all that Shannon lost the job, but I'm also thinking Shannon probably isn't losing out on much. Club Shay Shay is a massive success. He is much bigger now than he ever has been as a player. And to be honest with you, he didn't necessarily get big on ESPN. So ESPN wasn't the reason Shannon Sharpe was the sports talking head that he was. They brought in Shannon Sharpe because of his popularity. So at this point, I don't think either side really hurt from the mutual parting of ways here. I think Shannon's going to go on to do some great stuff with Club Shay Shay, and I think ESPN's going to continue to do what it does.
Well, he went on Club Shay Shay and had this to say about his tenure with the ESPN.
I found out this information a little earlier in the week, and really the only thing that I really ask is, like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this coming out will overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You're done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow. They saw me, Lakers in 5, and they saw me say all these analogies that my grandparents gave me, and I was able to bring that to ESPN. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But I just wished, of all things, like I said, hey, they did what they felt they needed to do, and I'm at peace with that. But I just wish, guys, this thing could have waited until Monday, because I hate the fact that I'm overshadowing my brother, the first two brothers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this is what the headline's going to be for the next couple of days. So, bro, again, I know you told me this, I don't have to apologize, but I'm going to do it one final time tonight, and I won't apologize again. I'm sorry that I upstaged you in this manner. That was never my intent. You've been my hero. You've been my role model from as long as I can remember. And I apologize, and I thank all my fans for supporting me when I was at ESPN and every place that I've been, be it Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, Undisputed, ESPN. Thank you guys for your support.
He's right. I mean, I hate to say it, but he's absolutely right that this is going to be a tarnishment on the entire Sharpe situation with him going into the Hall of Fame, even though it has nothing to do with his brother at all. Honestly, though, I'm going to float this to you just because it popped in my head while listening to his apology. I don't think he's actually done at ESPN. I'm going to call it right now that we probably will see him depart from ESPN now. But later on down the line, especially if this entire thing with Club Shay Shay continues to be an absolute success and he continues to be who he is, because at this point we are a country of just what's the word I'm looking for?
Forgiveness?
Not forgiveness. No, we don't forgive. We just forget. Recency bias.
I don't see him back at ESPN, but I can see him scoring a solid job with whether it's the NFL Network,
Fox
or
Sports
CBS, and there's also news that the ESPN is trying to buy out NFL Network and Sunday Ticket. So I mean, they'll find a different avenue for him. Maybe he goes over to CBS and swap places with Eisen. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, he'll have his personality and he'll have his media outlet somewhere. And like you said, the Club Shay Shay
That's the biggest thing, right? I mean,
I
ever
can't
since
stand his podcast, but I know there's a big following with him.
ever since the Cat Williams thing, dude, I'm telling you, he's had a massive following. Every guest he's had on has been fantastic. It's honestly a very well produced show and a very well run show, and he's a great host of it. That's why I'm saying he has talent in the area. This entire thing with the 19-year-old is bad now, but once it all blows over and everybody forgets this ever happened, because let's be honest, there's going to be a good portion of America that forgets Shannon Sharp ever had this happen to him. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody like you said, like CBS, NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports 1. Somebody's going to reach out to him again and say, "Hey, let's talk about getting your show remade over here."
Especially with the NFL season coming up. I mean, it's an outlet, and his show will continue to succeed, especially during football season. But we'll take this break. We'll come back. We'll get to Fantastic Four, Happy Gilmore, and other shows that begin streaming today, like our buddy Leanne Morgan's show. We'll talk about that and much, much more. Feel free to call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000. This is the Early Bird Special on ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1 FM.
So much to get into with this entertainment news.
Where do you want to start?
Well, Fantastic Four last night.
I cannot wait to see this
It
again.
is an awesome movie, I will say. Even if you don't know the story, they break it down pretty quick. It's not a long. That's what one thing I was worried about, and it's called First Steps. I'm like, is this going to be a long, prolonged like
Origin movie.
introduction of
Yeah.
each guy? And no, they knocked it out in the first 10 minutes.
Thank God. Look, and this is coming from a superhero fan. I love all of these movies. I really do. But when we have to rehash the intros to these heroes over and over and over again, and this isn't me speaking as somebody who already knows them, it's more of just like, how many times we need to see Peter Parker get bit by the spider? You know what I mean? How many times we need to see Batman's parents die? We know what happened. We know how this happened. We just want to see the powers. We don't care. It's not the same. I don't know. But
Just an incredible cast. One, like if you've watched Ozark, if you'd watched The Bear, if you'd watched The Bear, if you've watched Stranger Things, I mean, there is so many.
Well, and then of course
awesome
the internet's
actors and
daddy in
actresses.
Pedro Pascal.
Exactly.
How do you miss on Pedro
And
Pascal?
he is awesome in this movie. It took me a while to put Eddie Munson from Stranger Things to it because
so
he's
good.
got the short hair, but his facial expressions and the voice, I was like, that's got to be him.
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
And the trailer park trash girl from Ozark, which Julia Garner was awesome. And one of my favorite superheroes was Silver Surfer growing up. So it was great to see. They don't really unveil her until towards the end, but overall, I think it was one of the best movies of the year. I would top it over Superman.
Wow.
I would put it up there with like Sinners. Sinners probably a close second, but I love the movie, and we stayed for the extra credits. There's one that's silly that has nothing to do with anything,
Naturally.
but there was one that's pretty focused on the Marvel movie coming out next year.
Yeah, and that's what Rick Bentley, our KGET entertainment guy, had told me, is that if you're a fan, you need to watch these post-credit scenes because one of them, like you said, is very fun and goofy, but the other one is pivotal for where we're going next.
But I'm a movie nerd, so I always try to get there before, the previews. And there was another movie that's coming out early August called Weapons.
Oh my God.
That's got Julia
so
Garner in it as
good.
well. And that looks incredible too.
Honestly, I still have yet to figure out the entire idea of what this movie is about, whether it's sickness or something, but it's a horror movie coming out where for some reason there's just an endless line of people trying to attack this girl and kill her.
She's a teacher, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what the entire thing is based around. I know that her entire class disappears mysteriously, and then the parents are coming after her. It stars, I believe, Josh Brolin is one of the parents as well. It looks really, really good from what I've seen, but I still am just like, I keep watching the trailer and wondering what is going on to have these people attack her, because it's not just like, they're coming after her with pitchforks and torches. We're talking about a guy with a bloody face looking like his eyes are about to pop out of his skull, trying to just run at her like Naruto and strangle her at a gas station.
Besides that, if you watch Five Nights at Freddy, there's going to be a sequel in December, and this one looks a lot darker.
And
I will say,
for you Scream fans out there, although Matthew Lillard already a part of the franchise, they brought Skeet in.
Yes,
he's going to be the new. I don't know.
Well, actually, they haven't.
They haven't. No, he wasn't in the first one. He's in the second one.
Yeah.
They brought him into this series. They haven't announced what his character is going to be, but I can only imagine that means he's going to be the bad guy or the next in line to be the villain in these movies. So,
and the other one was Avatar. They do show an extended.
Silently dropped this trailer.
It looks awesome.
Silently dropped the Ashes and Fire trailer, or Fire and Ashes, I believe is what it's called. And I'm not gonna lie, dude,
too.
It does. It looks like they're taking this to a completely different area of this world. I mean, if you're an Avatar fan, I liked the second one. I thought it was very beautifully done. This one looks more like it's going to be a war movie. Like we're going to get some brutality out of this film. So,
but another one that I didn't recognize in Fantastic Four was Natasha Lyonne from Poker Face, and American Pie, and 50 other movies that she just pops in. But she's not a big character in the movie. I didn't recognize her at first because I'm used to her fro, and her hair was all straight. But the movie was awesome. If you haven't seen it, I would jump on
Oh,
it
there
even
wasn't,
if you're not a big superhero fan. It's a great movie.
Paul Walter Hauser, I think, has a small role in this too. Like,
Malkovich,
yeah, it was a really well done film from what I understand. I can't wait to go check it out this weekend. And
so much better than the old ones, I will say.
that's what I was worried about, right? Is like coming into this movie, as long as they were better than the last 3 or 4 adaptations we got. I know that's an excessive amount, 3 or 4 movies, 3 adaptations, but it's just they've gotten worse and worse. So I was really worried that they were going to mess this up. But again, this is the last superhero movie you're going to get for the year, first and foremost. So that's a good thing for those of you who have superhero fatigue. And I totally understand why, because there's been way too much of this.
You got to be ready for 2026.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because that one is going to be jam-packed.
You now have, I think, what is it, like a 7-8 month gap to go and catch up on everything before this next Avenger movie comes out next year.
And Spider-Man, and there's a bunch of them coming out next year.
It's going to be nuts. But I am very excited to hear that this movie did well, because I was very skeptical at first, especially when I heard that Pedro was coming in. It wasn't going to be Krasinski. I'm not going to lie. I was part of the internet that was mad about that. I really was. But Pedro Pascal is Pedro Pascal. And from what I understand, he is going to be a major cornerstone in the MCU going forward. So you'll see a lot more of him.
Vanessa Kirby
is fantastic.
Who played Sue Storm was awesome.
And she's
a great actress.
And the relationship between the 4 of them during these media tours has been really interesting too, right? I mean, if you're Vanessa Kirby's husband, you cannot be happy with the way she's been hanging around Pedro at all. But
with that porn stash,
dude, I'm telling you, like the 2 of them are all cuddled up like an actual married couple. And it's like, I know.
Well, if you watch
your wife, or if I'm your husband,
if you watch The Bear, is it Eben Moss?
Mm-hmm.
He is one of my favorite characters in The Bear, if you've watched it. But in the beginning, this is the first and only time you'll see him without the whole Ben Grimm outfit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what is that him?
Yep.
And sure enough, dude, you'll catch on with his voice, because obviously he's got that Jersey type of voice,
the
Bronx type thing.
twang.
But he was awesome in that. And the other thing, man, Joseph Quinn, I haven't seen him in anything else besides Stranger Things.
Oh, you need to.
But he is such a great actor. Man, me and my son were talking about it the whole way home. I'm like, damn, dude, this kid has grown up, and he just kills this character.
I know you just said you haven't seen him in anything else. I'm gonna throw the one at you. Quiet Place, the one that came out recently, the newer one.
Mm-hmm.
He's in that. He's one of the main characters in that. He does an amazing job in that as well. He's a fantastic actor overall. I mean, I know he won over America as Eddie in the Eddie Munson in the Stranger Things, and that is coming back here pretty soon. And from what I understand, every single episode of this is going to be 2 hours plus to finish off this series.
Good.
So you're getting essentially 6 movies to end off Stranger Things, just so you know.
But not only does Leanne come out today,
yes,
but if you're a big, if you grew up playing Twisted Metal, and if you watched the first season, which was an awesome season.
I'm so happy you told me that, because I had no clue that was coming out this week.
The first 3 episodes come out today on Peacock.
Anthony Mackie, Stephanie.
Such a great show.
Oh, God, what's her last name? It starts with a V. She's fantastic in it. Samoa Joe does an amazing job as Sweet Tooth with the voice of Will Arnett. It is a match made in heaven, to be honest with you. I wasn't 100% sure how this was going to work, but it flows so well. And I love hearing the stories, right, from Anthony Mackie and all these guys about the shooting. Apparently, while shooting, because you can't sit there and just have Samoa not say anything, right? Yeah. I mean, that's going to be awkward. Apparently, he's the one landing all the lines. And Anthony even says, like, dude, it should be him. Like, they love Will Arnett, don't get me wrong, at voicing him. But even Anthony says, like, no, this dude's got charisma. He's got the chops. Like, it should have been him.
And, dude, if you watch Twisted Metal, or if you played it growing up, they do such a great job on tying in the video game into the show.
Well, and this season is supposed to be more like the video game than ever, because
they do the feuds now.
Well, yeah, but in the first season was the build up to it. This is the actual tournament.
You saw it at the end. The last episode of season 1 is when they really set it up.
Right. Well, for those of you, I'm talking as if everybody knows what the heck we're talking about here. If you didn't play the Twisted Metal games on PlayStation back in the day in the 90s, it was a very violent, brutally made car racing, or not even racing. It's more car destruction, very just shooting at each other and all that type of stuff. But
I was always Sabretooth, but
yeah, I was always Jax or Sweet Tooth. But it's all based around this entire universe that's all post-apocalyptic, and this tournament is made called Twisted Metal, where a guy named Calypso puts all of these top-notch racers against each other who essentially in a Mad Max style situation go at each other and try to kill each other while also simultaneously winning this race and being the last one standing. This season's going to get incredible because all of your favorite characters from these games are going to be included in this season. I'm very, very excited. I cannot wait to see this. I had no clue this was coming this weekend. So Sparky just made my weekend.
And what was that actress's name that was in Scream that plays the main rival or main bad person in Twisted Metal? She's the one that brings the male guy in.
I don't. Is she in this season? I gotta
That's
actually.
what I'm wondering, because she's the one that was setting it up at the end of season 1.
Right, but Calypso came in this year, which is the guy who
Neve Campbell.
Thank you. Yeah, Neve Campbell, and she might still be in the series. I didn't see her in the trailer though. That's why I'm kind of curious if she is or not.
I had to go back and watch it over the last week or so. But we'll take our final break. We'll get to the final text and preview Friday's show, as we've got a busy, busy show. And we're going to be talking SummerSlam ahead of the first 2-night SummerSlam right here on the Early Bird Special.
always a good day when you hear Michael, even if it's not police brutality. This is an early bird special. We're here to wrap up the show. Thank you for joining us, 7 to 9, every day right here at ESPN Bakersfield and online at YouTube. Go follow us, subscribe, all that type of stuff. We're about 60 right now.
If you're
Am I
a
mistaken?
wrestling fan, you got to watch this on Real Show too.
Absolutely.
I watched the second episode last night, and I'm still glued.
You know what's funny? I've seen so many like Instagram wrestling people. You know what I mean? Like the people that follow and have their own following and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what to call you. Influencer, I guess, is the best way to use it, but it's not really that. Reaction guys, I guess, is the best way to put it. A lot of people aren't liking it. A lot of people are talking smack. I'm assuming just to get more clout, to be honest with you. But like some I've heard, it's like, oh, see, the writing room, works exactly like I thought it was. It's like a podcast, and these guys are like, oh, I want CM Punk. I want CM Punk. Oh no, this one guy has to be different. And it's like, sounds like you're a little salty, my friend.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, first and
I
foremost,
almost feel like CM Punk.
you
The saltiest of them all.
well, that's not on the WWE for you guys to have this entire idea in your head that they had this futuristic plan set, or like they have their own way of thinking that nobody else can comprehend. We're all human, dude. And it's been well established that the WWE is a last second thing, and it's a very reactionary business, is professional wrestling. So I don't get it. I don't get the hate behind it. I'm loving this series.
Well, like the
I'm gonna
second
watch it a
episode,
second time, man.
the second episode, we talked about the first one yesterday, where it kind of went into, the Cena, the Gorilla Room,
Mhm.
Rhea. The second episode gets more into the growth of the bloodline, how Jey Uso was selected, and how he didn't know he
Mhm.
was going to win the Rumble, and how how Paul or Triple H goes into, how important the Royal Rumble is,
Mhm.
how he looks at it is it's 30 wrestlers that are building their way up, and how Uso didn't really even know until a couple hours before the beginning of Royal Rumble.
That's usually how it goes.
Yes, and you can see, the CM Punk side, the personal side of CM Punk, on how, how he thought he should have won, and just the respect between the wrestlers. Plus, one of my favorite parts was how they got into the Kevin Owens and Cody match, how they do set up things and hope that the fans and these followers are to bite and use the videos, like the kick or
Mhm.
the jump, and how the pile driver that KO ended up doing with Cody, and how it was all set up. And it's just a beautiful thing. If you're into music or writing or just wrestling in general, this is a great docuseries.
Mhm.
It just, you get to show the working parts of it.
Honestly, for a guy like me, who I don't think it's a secret, I love the industry. I would
Yeah.
die to work in that industry. I really would, but they're not looking for people like me. They're really not. They like, when you really look at the WWE and AEW, and this isn't a slight to the industry, it's more of just, it's one of those situations where it's very nitpicks. You have to be part of it pretty much your entire life to even be considered to be in it. It's just something that you are not necessarily given. You have to earn, and it's hard to do that. But getting these behind the scenes looks in this Unreal series has been great, because it's really everything that you were kind of curious about, right? What led to the heel turn for John Cena? Why did they choose Jey Uso? Why exactly are they allowing Jey to redo his entrance when no one else gets to? You know what I mean? And it's all a reactionary thing. That's why I can't really get behind all these people's thoughts when it's like, oh, I can't believe the writing room could be. And honestly, not saying they're saying it exactly like this, but essentially they're calling the writing room incompetent.
Yeah.
And
90% of that writing room wanted CM Punk to win it.
exactly. But somebody brought up a good idea of, hey, what about Jay? The fans
Michael
are really
Hayes.
getting behind Jay.
I love Michael Hayes, man.
Is great.
And just more respect to him, because I didn't know he was that much more hands-on.
Mhm.
But just seeing the outside, Bruce Pritchard is always going to be an icon. But when it comes to Michael Hayes, he's just an old school wrestler, and I love that they name it the Gorilla Room. I
Mhm.
grew up watching Gorilla Monsoon.
Mhm.
So it's just respect all around.
And that's the thing, man. This just shows the best of what we already knew, while also we like just bringing you in on things that people thought they knew. You know what I mean?
Like when we hear Triple H say, no one really knew. He's not throwing slight at anybody. He's being honest. No one knew. There wasn't a plan until literally that day. And that's how the industry is. So it's like, that's what I love about it, is that you're finally getting to see that part of it, how these guys all work together, their relationship behind the scenes. You get to see a side of Rhea Ripley that I don't think anybody ever knew existed, because at her core, she is a anxiety-ridden, just normal person, just like you.
Oh, she was losing it.
But the minute that light goes on and the sound or the music goes, she could turn it on and be a completely different person and perform for you. I think personally that gives me more, or that gives her more respect from me.
Yep.
1000%, because to be able to do that in a way where you could see she is freaking out, and in the best of ways, because that just shows she cares. But it's one of those situations where I love seeing all of this. I love seeing the human side of all these people. And even John Cena, when he introduces himself, my name is John Cena. My government name is John Cena, blah, blah, blah. He goes down the entire line. He's changed his name to John Cena because that's how much he loves the industry. You got to love seeing stuff like that. You really do.
Ahead of SummerSlam tomorrow, we have a jam-packed show. We've been talking financial literacy, especially with teenagers and athletes. We'll have MoneyWise guy Seth Perry coming in at 7:30 to talk about upcoming financial literacy seminar that they're doing at the Racket Club to help teenagers understand money in general.
Thank God.
We'll have Chris Flow at 8 and our boy Kyle Pitzer from Dionysus at 8:30. Join us tomorrow live 7 to 9 a.m.
Talk all things SummerSlam as we get ready for the first ever 2-night SummerSlam live from MetLife Stadium. Until then, we got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Sparky, let's get out of here.